All right, I'll call this meeting to order. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the approval of the minutes of the regular board meeting on September 13th, 2021. You guys all have a chance to look at those.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting minutes on September 13th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, minutes are approved. Next, the approval of general fund vouchers 78927 through 79014 and wire transfers 20220092 through 20220137.
I move to approve.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to approve the fund vouchers and wire transfers. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion passes. Public comments on the agenda items? Anyone? No? All right, next, new business. Review of the 2021-2022 COVID-19 procedures.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that on there again. I have the updated letter that was put on the website last Friday. As of Friday, so this was obviously last week, Friday, October 8th, we had 3 students that were currently quarantined or excluded, I should say, and then 0 staff members that were currently excluded at the time of the letter. And then overall, we had 11 students that have tested positive and 3 staff members that have tested positive. So things continue to go well for us, and the individuals that we're communicating with that are being excluded are displaying flu-like symptoms. The one difference that we're seeing is the adults that are testing positive that have the flu-like symptoms. It seems like it's lasting a little bit longer than it did last year. Like it's the symptoms are lasting a little bit longer. But just wanted to throw that in there to.
Could you break down the students? Are they this building or elementary?
Off the top of my head, I don't. I know the majority at the very beginning we didn't have an elementary student test positive for I think like maybe 6-7 kids in. So I don't know off the top of my head how many we have in each building.
I just would wonder where kids aren't vaccinated. Is that where most of our cases are? Or are they here?
They're not with staff and students. With staff, we've seen more. I mean, it's a low number, so whatever that means,
Right.
but more vaccinated staff have tested positive than unvaccinated. Or the majority of our numbers are vaccinated individuals. I don't know about students.
Right.
I won't even guess, but I don't know.
Based on what we hear from like the hospital and stuff, I would make the assumption that there's a very small percentage of students
That are elementary
probably
age.
well, even at the high school, I have no idea what it would be, but
That are vaccinated?
That are vaccinated.
Yeah.
I gotta believe it's a small percentage
Right.
that are vaccinated.
But they have the option. So I'm just wondering
Yeah.
where kids don't have the option, is that where the majority of our cases are?
I see your question.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure we're really still being cautious and watching
Yeah.
for those 1st through 6th graders that don't have the option. Just for families feeling like we're doing our due diligence with watching the cases.
The student population seems to be pretty similar to last year, where the symptoms are seem to be very mild, but the adult numbers, the symptoms seem to be not more significant symptoms, but just longer lasting, is what we're seeing. But again, that's based off of 11 students and 3 staff members. So just based off that, that's where we're at right now. So knock on wood, but things are going really well. So that was all I had for the update on procedures.
Thanks, Skip. All right, we'll move on to new business B, review of the 21-22 board retreat.
Okay, I just threw that on there. If anyone of you guys wanted to share out, but we brought in Trevor Helmer from RASW law firm, and he did a really good job. I thought it was board governance and just kind of best practices in the district, and I thought he hit a lot of key pieces, and then had some scenarios for us to talk through. And I found the presentation to be very beneficial. So I just wanted to throw this on there as a agenda item to be kind of transparent to our stakeholders, since it's one of the requirements for the board to go through with WASB, but this kind of falls under that same category, just the professional development piece of it. So I don't know if you guys had anything that you wanted to share.
Yeah, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
All right, well, then we'll move on to new business C, review of the 21-22 third Friday pupil count.
Okay, so the next page in your packet just has a list of where we're at for the third Friday count. So the third Friday in September, DPI requires us to do a count of the population of actual butts and seats in the district, and then based off that, there's a formula that they then generate a number for the district. So the numbers that you guys are looking at are actual students that we have in the district. So the first column is the total column, who was present, who was absent, students that are virtual, males, females, anybody in HSED, SPED population, open enrollment in special ed, open enrollment out, and then open enrollment out special ed. So grades pre-K through 12, we're at 572. So our junior senior high have, you can see if you look on the very first column of total numbers, our junior senior high population is very high, and we're down a little bit at the elementary. We had a couple homeschool families, but we have ninth grade, well actually 7th through 12th are really high. We have 56. We had an influx of kids in the 7th grade, so 56 kids in the 7th grade. The lowest number is that junior class, but otherwise in 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th we have 51, 47, 36, and 50. So again, total number of kids 572 in the district.
Nice.
Any questions?
Okay, next on the business then is the 21-22 federal audit.
Okay. I just wanted to share, I don't have any documents or forms, just wanted to share with you guys that we're being audited. On October 25th, the district will be going through a single audit of our federal dollars. So the threshold for the single federal audit is 175, and due to the COVID relief money, we're going to be well over that. So I got to believe every district in the state is going to be going through a federal audit of an audit of their federal dollars. So that mostly is going to impact Ms. Karnick in the district office.
Just FYI, it's 750,000.
Oh, I'm sorry, 750.
Yeah. We're over just because of food service. Everybody got free lunches and breakfast, and it's all federal dollars. So.
Yep. And then the 3 ESSER chunks too.
How big a deal? How much work is it?
I've never been through one, so.
It's been a long time since we've done one, so I don't know. As of right now, I have nothing that I'm preparing at this point. So we'll see.
Well, good luck to you guys. Now, next time of business is the approval of the embroidery machine.
Okay. Just wanted to throw this on there and discuss it, and hopefully seek approval of an embroidery machine. Now, if you guys remember, a couple of years ago we applied 2 years in a row for the Fab Lab grant, and then ended up not getting it out of the tech ed program. So then we decided, with us not getting it 2 years in a row, we just decided we were going to allocate money to try to kind of build our own and start purchasing our own materials for that area that you typically get with the Fab Lab grant. And we've done a really good job allocating money for that down there. We got the laser engraver, the plasma cutter, the screen printing machine, and then this is kind of the next, really I think one of the last things that we're looking to buy is the embroidery machine. So it would be housed in the tech ed room. A big chunk of this would be incorporated into the employability skills. So it's a co-taught class with the special ed teacher and then Mr. Larson. And then they'd learn, kind of what it takes to embroider doing the embroidery on the apparel, and hopefully put that into our school store and incorporate that down there as some items that we can either sell or use in-house to create. So we also did, I think 2 years ago, we did a couple tours of some embroidery machines. Augusta, I think, was the name of the school. I could be wrong on that, but it was a school that we went and looked at their embroidery machine, and it kind of did a walkthrough. So I believe the machine that we're looking at, Mr. Larson got a couple different companies to look at, and then I put the quote in. I didn't email it to you, but it is in here as far as what the cost of that specific embroidery machine. So the request is to purchase. You guys give us a green light to purchase an embroidery machine, and we have a good chunk of our CTE money that we can allocate toward it.
How much of that stuff are they doing right now I'm just thinking of my kids with baseball or jerseys or just the t-shirt they get? Because it seems like we're buying most of that in these clubs, but I'm not like we need to have a bunch of free labor with kids and stuff here, but I was just, what are they making currently, I guess, with the... So we'd still be charging, so for example, he did the Clear Lake physical therapy shirts. Okay. And they're a lower cost. So depending on what's going into them. So it's a lot lower cost, but I know he has done some T-ball, depending on the team, a couple of those. Sure. Just kind of started. I suppose it's not like they're going to make a Nike jersey or something like that. No, I get that, but but some of that stuff though, but it takes time to do it too. Yeah, and but then I think the key piece is to get the group of kids that are doing it, because it depends on I'm sure this would certainly. Yeah, what time of year depends, if Mr. Larson is doing it all, or if he's got kids that are. The goal is to have. And I think you're right. Part of the employability skills. T-ball stuff, I think. I think in the summer, he does some of those on his own. Right. So our hope is to incorporate it more into the classes, and that it's just part of the class, not Mr. Larson doing it himself. So, and then the hope too is with the embroidery machine, a lot of it is not, when the actual embroidery is taking place, the kids aren't involved. It's the leading up to it, so the Photoshop and the Adobe Premiere and getting the logos in, and then then you run it through. And then it probably would only, with the embroidery machine, take 1 or 2 students, but there'd be more of the graphic arts piece leading up to it is what he's hoping.
Is there a store?
We there's kind of a makeshift store right now. We did the first run at it at the last football game, and I think they sold $800 worth of stuff, but it was a lot of just kind of piecemeal stuff that they had done experimenting on. So we're looking to buy a couple main kind of things that we can make nice and then try to sell to parents and students. Yeah. So, and I do think embroidery, the screen printing, really, it's almost an art form. I mean, it's not easy for a kid to just come in class and start doing it. I mean, it takes some time to learn that skill. And I think the embroidery machine is a little bit different. I think it's more of the leading up to it and then plug it in. And programming it in.
Once it's programmed in, you just let it go.
Yeah. So.
Well, I will entertain a motion.
Yeah, I move to approve the embroidery machine.
I have one quick question.
Yeah.
Before we rush into that. So when we talk about it being interconnected with graphics and all these other things, is it just Mr. Larson, or is he connecting with Mrs. Hunter or with Mrs. Waterman from a graphics perspective? Are the teachers working collaborative on this?
Yeah, I know there was some discussion with Mrs. Hunter and how we could incorporate it into there. She has a small, I think it's actually called Mickey Mouse type embroidery. I think it only does a handful of things. I don't think it's been used since I've been here, but to try to incorporate that into, possibly incorporating that into her class. Yeah. But I think that's about as far as we got. Okay. But ideally, it'd be great to incorporate it. Have it, across a couple different curricular areas with art I'm just reading,
when you're talking about going to UW Stout and you're talking graphic design, that's art. And then it's art with the technology, so there's 2 different pieces to it. So can we start to connect our CTE instructors to start working more collaboratively so they're prepared, if that's where you're going, is to try to prep them for UW Stout or a program like that.
Yeah, ideally that would be the route. It gets a little bit trickier with the smaller district when you're kind of landlocked with classes, but that's our goal. I mean, it'd be fantastic to have it, tied into one of the art classes, and or FCCLA
or something.
and business. Yeah. So
Even if you can't connect the classes, at least connecting the instructors for the curriculum and the projects.
Mhm.
yep.
So those were my only questions. Fully support it. Just wanted to make sure that we have those report outs from those areas, making sure that there's the collaboration.
Yeah.
So is that a second?
Oh yeah, that's a second, sorry. That was a long-winded second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the embroidery machine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion passes. The next item of business is the discussion of the October special board meeting.
Okay. So since we moved to one board meeting a month, usually it's October 15th is when the official numbers come in for the final budget. So every October we've been doing 2 board meetings. So just wanted to throw it out there. There's the possibility of Monday, October 25th for a second meeting this month to finalize our numbers and budgets. And if you guys recall, it's typically a very quick meeting.
Works for me.
What time would you like to get together, Josh?
5:30 regular?
5:30 works for me.
Okay.
On the 25th.
Then we move on to our next agenda item, approval of 21-22 substitute compensation rates.
Okay. So I just wanted to talk through this with you guys. If you look at your board doc, so we're having a shortage of subs, and it's not due to staffing. Like we don't have. It's not. I mean, this year has been pretty similar to any other year outside of the pandemic stuff. A sub here and there, and we've been pretty. We're cautiously approving even trips to CISA and stuff like that. So we just have a shortage of subs right now. We had 1 or 2 subs that just ended up leaving the area for whatever reason. So, and we are not unique in this. I mean, every district that you talk to they're dealing with the same thing right now. So we stole something from Menominee, had thrown out, they had kind of a thing that they put out to try to incentivize some sub coverage in their district. So on the notes, you'll see kind of the hourly rate. So 21-22, our current compensation rate. Our custodian subs are at 12 hours, our food $12 an hour. Our food service substitute is $12 an hour, and then our classroom aide substitute is $11 an hour. So my proposal for the para, kind of short, is that we bump the classroom aide substitutes to $12. So all 3 areas are at the same dollar amount. I'm not sure why those were different. I think you could argue on any given day, any one of those 3 are more difficult than the other one. They're all, depending on the day and where you're at. So that would even things out with the para, substitute para pay would just be $12 across the board. So if you look at the 21-22 proposed compensation, everything bolded it would be changed. So $12 for the classroom para substitute, and then currently we pay teachers teacher substitutes $125 a day. That would remain the same. We provide a free lunch. We implemented that either last year or the year before, 2 years ago. That would remain. And then the 3 bottom pieces would be kind of an additional incentive. So free district activities pass after accepting 5 assignments. That'd be at no cost to the district. And then a $100 bonus for anybody that subs in the classroom after they accept 35 assignments, and then another additional $100 bonus at accepting after 75 assignments. And you look at the number on this document. You'll see this one with my handwriting at the top. This is 2019-2020 the sub coverage, and that goes from the beginning of the year through March. So we had one individual that subbed for 104 days, and then you can go down the line as far as where we're at. So the 35 threshold, you can see, all but 5 individuals hit that mark, and a couple of those below it may have been close because it was, ended in March. So there were April and May, and probably a week in June there. And then the 75 mark too would be an additional 100. That makes sense. Did I explain that? I felt like I was
Would you do
rambling a
like
little
every
bit.
35 you get $100 instead of 35 or 70 would make more sense to me, but
35 or what?
and then again
Yeah, like
70.
when it doubles.
Right.
No. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and initially when I sent this document to you, I just arbitrarily picked them.
Okay.
So that's why I had highlighted them and said these may change.
Sure.
But so honestly, I'm open to. I mean, if you guys want to discuss those numbers, I'm all ears too. I mean,
Just every 35, give them $100. Michael, in my opinion.
So is this all we need to really do to get more subs?
I don't know if this is gonna help us or not. I don't know. But I feel like it may incentivize the ones that we have to sub here a little bit more. Because we do have a couple subs that sub here, and they sub in Amory, and they sub in Clayton. And they're kind of all over. So it might be, one thing to like I said, incentivize them to say, oh, I'll take Clear Lakes instead of wherever.
So what are the other schools paying, Josh?
The sub rate, we're pretty competitive. Like even, I think
I think Menominee is 125.
yeah, so Menominee's a big district, and we're at the same rate as Menominee.
Are we the same rate as our
Hudson was
surrounding
higher,
ones?
but
Hudson is, I gotta believe, higher. I'm not sure what theirs
Hudson's
is.
is crazy.
I thought there was
Yeah.
way out there. But
I guess the only reason I say that is if you think that's all we got to do to get more subs in here, but
I don't know, if I'm being totally honest. I don't know if anything that we do will cause more people to sub here. I think it might be, like I said, just an incentivize to get them to sub here a couple more days. So that even during the shutdown last year, or a year and a half ago, we picked up a couple more subs from the surrounding areas, like especially like when Amory shut down and we weren't. We had a couple extra subs, but for the most part, it was our same subs, just subbing more during that time. So.
And I'm sorry, I must have blinked out when you were explaining this, but the number of days, that's the number of total days that we have subs?
Which one?
500 whatever.
That's
565?
Yeah.
That's the total number of sub days?
Those are the total number of subs that we had in the district that year. So we had 500 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 25 of them.
subs who did 565 days.
Yeah.
So like that 104, that's one person did
So you just need
104
to get
days.
5 of those.
I know. Yeah, no kidding.
I suppose if you add $10 to the 125, that would add 5,000 to, 5,600 to that. I guess what I'm trying to say is do what you got to do to make it work. You know what I mean? So we don't have to scramble and see you can okay the seats, the trips, and everything else that you need to do.
Yeah, I think we're gonna always kind of be, scrambling. I just think that's the nature of the beast. But if it, helps us through a couple more days and, keeps, I don't know. I'm not sure if this will do the trick or not, but I think it's worth a try of doing something.
Well, it aligns with all the hiring bonuses that are out there. I mean, there's just an overall worker shortage.
Yeah.
So,
I don't see ice cream on the list.
Yeah, we can definitely put that
or
on.
milk.
you want them all?
What are you guys thinking for ideas for numbers? I heard a couple different ideas.
Every 25 days.
So if you did it 25 days of that list from 19 to 20, that would be 14 extra payments.
Yeah, top guy'd get 4, extra $400. 3, 2.
25 days would be a little bit more than a month. You know, if you figure 4 weeks.
4 weeks, 5 days, that's 20 days.
So they're doing 5 weeks worth of teaching, over a month's worth of teaching,
Yeah.
or being here, which is significant.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And is this in line from other years then? Would you say?
Yeah, this was pre,
I
like,
would say it's
pandemic
pretty-
stuff, so it's probably
other
pretty
than
close.
2 months of not having school, it's pretty good.
Would it make sense to do, 25 to be the first break, but then every 10 after that? Being that there's kind of quite a group between 25 and,
I think that's gonna.
That might be a lot of money.
So is 14 a lot? I mean, that would add you $1,400 in the sub.
What do you mean 14
If you
days?
go through and figure out, like, the first person would get, if we did it 25, they would get 4 bonuses.
If we did every 25
Right.
days?
Right. So then if you go down, so the first one would get 4, the next one would get 2, the next one would get 2, the next one's down through 25 would get 1. That's 14 bonuses down through the 25 number on the left-hand column.
Mm-hmm. So what is your question?
So that would be $1,400 more for subs if we gave bonuses at 25 days. So it would be $1,400 bonuses.
Yeah. Which I don't think that's gonna break the bank. I mean,
No.
and that's, obviously that's at the end of March, so you still have 2 more months to go, so there's gonna be a couple more on there, but
4 or 5 maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Plan 20, that's 2,000
Yeah.
more.
And there's probably less than 25 subs right now that are teaching. I'm thinking, if I remember the one,
Yes.
I would say like maybe 20. What do you guys think?
It might be less than that. But
Yeah, it might be
Yeah.
less than that too, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a small core who are like our regulars,
Yeah.
as you can see,
So do we want to do 25, 50, 75, 100, and then 100 is the cap?
Yeah.
Kind of rather than just every 25? Does that sound $100 bonus after every...
Every,
25 days.
About every 5
Yeah.
weeks. If you teach 5 weeks, you get a bonus.
No. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I like it.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll entertain a motion.
Need a motion for that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do we have to move for the substitute pay and then
Can we do it
the
all?
bonuses?
You could just move to approve the,
Whole company?
the substitute compensation rates.
I move to approve the substitute compensation rates.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the 21-22 substitute compensation rates. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, motion passes. The next item of business is Board Policy 0171.3.
Okay, so I have, cheers, speaking. Those same 2 policies, the only addition that we talked about last time, so in the very first sentence of each one, so the clerk of the Board of Education shall, we would add the clerk of the Board of Education or Board of Education designee shall. So right in that very top, and nothing A through F in the first one would be adjusted or revised, and nothing through AE of the second one. So the same thing, I'm getting ahead of myself, but if you
Yep.
look at the treasurer one, that same verbiage would be used in the very first sentence of the policy. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
That answers our question.
And these 2 board policies are a product of our board retreat conversation. So I will entertain a motion for the clerk first.
I move to approve the clerk board policy 0171.3.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the board policy 171.3 for the clerk, and then I will entertain a motion for the treasurer.
I move to approve the treasurer 0171.4.
It's been properly moved.
Second.
It's Been properly moved and seconded now to approve 171.4, the treasurer. All in favor, signify by saying aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Next item of business are superintendent notes.
Okay. First, I just wanted to say, last week was the National School Board Appreciation Week. We have cookies on the table for you guys, but on behalf of on behalf of not only our school and the employees in the district, but our entire stakeholder group, our community, I want to say thank you. I know it's a can be a challenging and at times I'm sure thankless job, but I can't thank you guys all enough for the last, especially the last 2 years and with everything that's been going on. We've had multiple individuals, community members express how impressed they've been with some of the conversations that we've been having at the board level. Even if there's a difference of opinion, that we've always been it's always been respectful, polite, and from the people internally here, but also the feedback that I've heard from parents, that they feel like you guys are hearing each other out, and that you guys are making really student-centered decisions. So I just want to say thank you. I know I've said this in the past, but it would be a very challenging position for me in my role to have a dysfunctional board, and we have a very high functioning board. So I very much appreciate it, and just want to thank you guys on behalf of everyone in the district. So thank you. Then a couple other things we wanted to talk about. Homecoming was a huge success. I don't know if it's just me, that the excitement, everyone just seems more excited this year with everything that we got going on. If that's my own perception or if it's actual reality, but it just seems like everyone just seems happy to have the parade going on and the involvement at games, and it just seems like people are very happy to be having things fairly close to normal once again. So homecoming I thought was a great success. I'll ask Mr. Peterson and Mr. Malberg if they want to speak on anything specific to each of their buildings, if you guys wanted to share anything. I
would just echo that too. I think that after not having some of the activities last year, like for example the parade this year, I thought was one of the better ones I could remember. I thought there was a bigger crowd of community members downtown this year. I thought just the number and quality of the units in the parade was really good, and then I think having beautiful weather sure doesn't hurt. Yeah, was great. And then one thing that was new this year, that Mr. Verhan brought the band over, and Mrs. Waterman brought the dance and cheer group over. We had a little assembly on Friday morning, which again, that's another thing, we hadn't done assemblies in a while. We do our Student of the Month assembly. Well, we paired it up with, since it was homecoming Friday, and then it's cool to have the cheerleaders and the band come over and kind of kicked it off just for 5 minutes. Played the school song and did a few things and got everybody fired up. So that was pretty special too. So.
The turnout at the football game Friday night from the community and the school was awesome. And the dance, we had over 140 kids attend the dance, which, according to Mr. Crawford, is a great turnout compared to what we've had in the past. The kids were fantastic. They had a great time. And I would just add a huge thank you to Mr. Crawford. He spends a lot of time kind of putting on the show and getting the kids excited, and getting kids involved in a lot of different ways. So a huge shout out to him and a thank you to him. Yeah, and there's a lot of planning. I was even seeing in my own household how I think a lot of the kids are going to be, don't recognize it right now, but once they're old and gone from here and old, they're going to really recognize how much time and effort Mr. Crawford and the staff, but really specifically Mr. Crawford, what he does to get the bonfire going, all of the games, and organize things organized for the activities before the bonfire, the game night, and then the activities throughout the day. I did have to jokingly say to my daughter, who's a 9th grader, that I was debating reinstating the COVID procedures of the 6-foot proximity and the masks at the dance, but that joke wasn't well received in my household. But the dance, Mr. Malberg and Mr. Crawford and myself were at the dance, and everything went really well. I mean, our kids really did a nice job at the dance there as well. So it was a lot of fun, and then the band did the walking through the hallways here and playing, and there was a lot of excitement. So I thought it was a great week, and everybody handled themselves really well, students and staff. So. And then lastly, Food for America. I just wanted to give a shout out and a thank you to Ms. Watson for all the time that she put into that to make the Food for America possible, and the kids
involvement there for the little ones at the elementary to get to go to the farm. And a thank you to the farm for hosting. I'm blanking, I apologize.
Solomon.
Thank you. What was it? Solom's for hosting this year. So that was nice to have off-site again. Last year we had to do it on-site, which was a success last year, but it was nice to have it back on the farm again, on one of the local farms here this year. So I know the kids really appreciate that. So thank you to everyone that was involved in that. And that's all I have for notes.
Okay, next item of business is, thank you, Mr. Ernst, our future agenda items. Anybody have anything that we want to add to the agenda next? Well, I guess it'd be at next meeting this month, October 25th.
It's just budget, isn't it?
Yeah, that one will just be the final approval of the final budget and then approval of the final tax levy.
Nothing. Okay, then I will entertain.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned.